Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for, this is your November bonus reading. We are going to jump right in here. You have this co-create card and this buy the book card. So it is a great time for Aquarius for co-creation. This comes up almost every single reading, but it kind of makes sense because you have Pluto in your sign, and Pluto in Aquarius is all about co-creation. So, working together, I would say, with the right people is kind of what the Three of Pentacles wants you to do, is to make sure that you're working together with people who kind of like lift you up, who support you, who really lead to the best outcomes and things like that as well. I kind of feel like, I feel like this reading is coming into your life right before you say yes to something. I'm going to take this card as well, by the way. It just fell out into my lap, but I feel like it's coming into your life right before you say yes to something that like you shouldn't say yes to here, and it's like the wrong thing. I feel like it's pretty simple, Aquarius. I feel that you should, it's like, I think there could be an opportunity here, especially with this Three of Pentacles, to say yes to something that where like someone else would get the credit for the work or something, and I would be careful of that. We'll talk about it more in a second. For how we're doing a Celtic cross, so for how you're entering into the reading, you have the King of Wands. It's like the power is with you, is what I feel like this is saying. He's bold, confident, assertive. He has the gift of foresight. He can, he's very innovative and he's almost intuitive. He can almost kind of predict his own future in a lot of ways. And so I feel like you're entering into this reading in a very strong position. I feel the reading itself is encouraging you to maintain the position, the decision maker, the leader, the person who gets the credit, all that other stuff. And just based off of some of the cards that are here, you even end with this card that says say no on it. And again, I feel this reading is kind of finding you before you almost say yes to the wrong thing, is what the reading is saying to me. You have the Three of Pentacles as your crossing energy. The crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you. I kind of feel a little bit of both. Again, it's like as long as you're number one here, Aquarius, I think things will go very well. I feel if someone else is getting credit for the work that you're doing, then, that's where the problem's going to come up. And this has been coming up for you for a couple of months. Like, I'm wondering I don't think this is true for all of you, but I think for some of you, you're maybe working on a project or something with other people. And it's like, I feel it's keeping you small. And, not a criticism or anything like that here, Aquarius. I just feel, it's time for you to expand. It's time for you to change your fortunes. You have the Wheel of Fortune coming up here as well. So I feel like the universe is saying like, hey, this situation probably taught you something. It probably, educated you on some things. But, now it's time to kind of get the credit for what you're capable of, like what you're truly capable of. And if you do, I think you'll be happy that you did. Again, Three of Pentacles is a card of quality work, card of good things happening. And so I think that's what you should focus on with this Three of Pentacles. I kind of get this feeling that some of you have been kind of going back and forth on a decision as well. So again, if there's something, I think this is specifically for those of you that are in a situation that you want to leave. I feel like you've been going a little bit back and forth. In the area of what's on your mind, we have the Chariot. The Chariot wants to set himself apart. The Chariot, driver wants to set himself apart, I should say. He is leaving the city behind him behind. He's charging forward in a new direction. He's looking for, new greener pastures. Everything is the same in that city. Nothing is changing. I feel like I've said this to you before, but I really feel if you're working with other people on anything or in anything, that you should really be looking at the results. Again, if you've been working on a project for 2 years and it's not growing or it's not getting anywhere, it might be time for you to set yourself apart with the Chariot. And the other thing that I feel about this Chariot for you, Aquarius, is that it should be giving you confidence. It should be, because I feel like it's saying you're capable of much more. He's going to have a victory, and you have a potential victory, apparently, coming up for you, but it's almost like you have to go and get it, and you have to maybe set yourself apart, embrace your uniqueness, embrace what makes you special, and, even if it pulls you away from something, I feel like that's where the success could be coming from with this card, and also the Wheel of Fortune coming up in your future position. We'll talk about that in a minute. I also feel, by the way, If you're thinking about moving, I would say yes. It's like sometimes I think we think like, if I move, would it really make things better or not? I think the answer is yes, is what the chariot is saying. So that's very specific. I think that's for those of you that are like wondering, would a move make your life better, or would there be more opportunity? It's saying yes to me. Next, in your foundation, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Really love it, the Eight of Pentacles. Really, I like any Pentacle card pretty much in the foundation position in a Celtic cross, because Pentacles are kind of foundational. And the Eight of Pentacles in a foundation position is about doing what's simple, right? He's only working on one thing. These 8 Pentacles, he is mastering his craft, but he's keeping it simple. He's not overcomplicating the situation by working on, a million things at once. But I kind of feel you are in this energy. I feel like you are in the energy of trying to keep things simple, which is, probably exactly what you should be doing right now, Aquarius. Probably the best thing for all of us, really. In the 2025 readings I did, the yearly readings, everybody had something about, keeping it simple or needing to keep it simple. The other thing is, I feel like your hard work is starting to pay off, or work is starting to pay off in general. The Eight of Pentacles can come up when we are about to get paid, basically, for work that we've already done. It can represent material success on the horizon, but I kind of feel this is coming in for you now. So for those of you that have been putting in the work, you could be getting some results finally, which is good. Next, in your past position, you have this enemy card. It says rival, frenemies, competitors, fights, hostility, be vigilant, opposing ideas, inner conflict, revenge. You have this unlocking card. It says resolution, revelations, openness, new path, solutions, destiny, success, significant answers, and influential. So again, I feel there's something that you're like pulling yourself away from. Like I said, it could be a group of people or with a specific person. And I feel this will kind of like unlock some solutions for you once if you haven't done this yet. It is coming up in your past position. So some of you maybe already have made this move. And I think it would be a good idea for you to do that. I also feel with this unlocking card, it's saying solutions, destiny, success, significant, answers, influential. These are all words that you could become. Influential, a person who has the answers, a person who has solutions. I would be embracing that. Also in your past, you have this Magician and the Eight of Cups. Yes, Eight of Cups, another card of walking away from something that no longer serves you. Those 8 cups, they do provide him with something, but he knows he would be settling if he stayed in that situation. I do feel that Aquarius is getting to the end of a transformation. The Magician is manifestation, but it's also a card of reinvention. So it can kind of represent a transformation in the sense that you are transforming who you are, or you're changing who you are in some ways. And again, that doesn't mean you're becoming a different person, but it does mean that you're using different tools. You're, finding different ways to manifest your dream or manifest whatever you're trying to manifest. And, that could require some changes in how you present yourself or how you put yourself out into the world. And so a lot of you, I feel, are going through changes with that card. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this card that says a temptation may lead you astray. You have the Satyr card that says revelry and indulgence. So again, I feel like this reading is finding you like right before you say yes to something, like the wrong thing, with that card that says the temptation may lead you astray. I would be careful. Like, again, this is not scary. I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that here, Aquarius. I just think the reading is saying, be careful what you agree to, especially if it involves other people. It might not. It might just be like a business or, some sort of choice. Like, I feel you feel it's not right, before before it would happen. So, it's kind of saying to me that you need to like trust your instincts this month, or you need to trust your instinct to say no to something or to walk away from something. I feel if you do that, I feel you'll be happy that you did. So I would pay attention. You have the Hermit. The Hermit says you've been through the dark night of the soul. It's almost like saying to me that some of you don't have to learn a lesson again. And so if you're saying no to something, it could be a lesson that you've already learned or something that you've already been through. And, the Hermit, he's found his inner light. He's, that light is his guiding light. And so he has already learned the lessons, and his next step is to come down to the world and show the world who he is, which I think is a major theme. It will be for like 19 years for you here, Aquarius, because of Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius wants Aquarius to shine, wants you to shine your light out into the world. It wants you to teach through being an inspiration, all the things that we always talk about. And, the Hermit wants you to believe that. The Hermit, everything about him represents knowledge and wisdom. So if you're doubting whether or not you have the tools necessary to be successful, with the Magician showing up in the past, the Hermit says you definitely do have all the tools necessary to be very successful. So you need to trust, what you have learned over the years. Next, in your outcome row, you have this Unmask card. Yes, it says reveal identity, expose intent, and question. All that is your reading. You have this say no. It says assert boundaries, strength, and self-worth. I feel like you are revealing your identity with the Magician. The Magician is a card of your identity. He has this snake wrapped around his waist. It represents the Ouroboros. It represents reinvention. Kind of represents shedding your skin. It's funny that we're in the year of the snake in the Chinese, zodiac. So a lot of you could be revealing who you truly are. It doesn't mean you've been wearing a mask or anything, but maybe you've been holding back, or maybe you haven't been doing things that you want to do. I feel like the say no card is definitely saying it's time to say no to someone or something. I feel like, if this message is for you, it's like you've been getting clues about this for a very long time. It's like I think the writing's been on the wall, so to speak, in whatever situation it is that you need to walk away from. In the area of the next few months, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is great. Can represent a change in your fortunes. It can represent feeling more lucky, or like things are going well for you. And so I do feel that there is like a lightening of the mood for you. It feels like your mood to me, like you're in a better mood. And I feel like when you're in a better mood, you can make better decisions and things go better when you're in a better mood. So I don't know. I just feel like this is your mood for some reason. I feel like something has happened maybe since like August for you, Aquarius. Like not bad, just like a dip, and I felt this for someone else as well. I don't remember who, but it might have been Scorpio, but I feel that for you, where it's like something has maybe gone down, or it's almost like something has dropped a little bit for you in your life. And the good news is I feel like things are kind of about to pick back up. It's like things are picking up steam. Maybe that's a good way to put it. And, the thing about the Wheel of Fortune is we can get that energy moving faster, right? So, I always say that, tarot, we shouldn't just take it as a prediction. We should take it as energy that we should work with so that we can make things better. And, I think that whatever is working in your life or whatever is going in the right direction, like start doubling down on those activities or those habits or those things so that you can make it faster. And, that's really what I would focus on with the Wheel of Fortune for sure. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, again, you had two cards. You have the Eight of Swords and the Page of Cups. This is all relationships in your life. And so, like, the Eight of Swords can represent self-imposed restriction or holding yourself back. So, the whole entire reading is asking you to be careful about some sort of connection or, a group that you're in. And it might be holding you back in some way. I do feel like if you're working on something that isn't going anywhere or whatever, it's like The Page of Cups could be love. So for those of you that want love, Page of Cups can be an admirer or a love offer that's coming in for you. And I do feel there could be like a new love offer coming in here for those of you that want love. The Page of Cups can also be your dream. And so I think that a lot of you need to manifest your dream, but it's kind of like saying you need to do it. Three of Pentacles, right? Three of Pentacles says that you have to be the one to get the credit. There's nothing wrong with working with other people as long as you're number one. I say this to you all the time now. This is a card of really making sure the people who are helping you are pushing your vision up. They're coming to support your vision, not their own vision or agenda or whatever else is going on. And I feel if you pay attention to that things will go very well. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Ace of Cups, which is great. The Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing, being very happy, having things going well. So that's nice. Could also be a love offer for those of you that want love. So there could be like a really happy connection. They're, the opposite of whatever else is going on here coming in for you. And I do like to see that for you. One other thing that's popping into my head here, Aquarius, with this buy the book card is like, I feel like this is saying, it's almost like encouraging you to not just go along to get along. It's like, is this really a challenge? Maybe a little bit, but not like a total challenge. I almost feel like it's saying, it's like sometimes I think we just want things to go smoothly. And so we kind of like, we allow people to cross our boundaries or whatever just to kind of keep the peace. I almost feel like this is saying, don't. Don't try to just keep the peace, or don't be afraid of rocking the boat, right? You have your outcome is the strength card, which is great. I think you've built a lot of strength through whatever this situation is. She's also getting credit for her strength. People are seeing her doing something crazy. She is sticking her hands in a lion's mouth. I always say, who in the right mind would stick their hands in a lion's mouth? The answer is nobody. And so she's getting attention for her display of strength, or for standing out, or for doing something, that could be crazy or whatever. She's also taming her inner voice. And so maybe that's something that you have to work on here, Aquarius, is like what your inner voice is saying to you, like, oh, you're not, especially if your inner voice is saying you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough to do something. It's like I would do something to work on those beliefs so that you can accomplish great things. This reading, Wheel of Fortune wants you to accomplish great things in life. So let's see. With the King of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, you have the Strength card. I think I said something on the King of Wands about how it's like I feel you have that energy. It's like you have the ability to be strong. You have the confidence. You have the ability to use your confidence for great things. And, it's definitely, the reading is definitely encouraging you to do that. With the Chariot, you have the Seven of Wands, boundaries. You had a card here that said something about boundaries. I think it was this enemy card or whatever. And so the Seven of Wands is about drawing a line in the sand. And, some of you might need to do that. It's like maybe you need to come up with some sort of deadline or something. It's almost like some of you, it's like I get the feeling that you are dealing with a person who is like too afraid to do the things that would make something work in the first place, It's like I wish I had a good I wish I had a good example for you, but I really don't have a good example. Years ago, I had a buddy who he opened like a coffee cart, like a cafe on wheels, basically, and he opened it with like two other people. And it's like one of the people was like didn't want to advertise, right, and like refused to allow it to happen. It's like that person was holding the whole thing back, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like there's a person that's like holding something back. Could it be corrected? Maybe, but I also think you could do something on your own here. It's like I think that the reading itself is saying that you have the energy to be number one on your own. You have the talents, you have the skills and abilities with the Magician to make something work. It's almost like saying you don't need someone else to give you permission. You don't need someone else to say like, yeah, this can work. With the Eight of Pentacles, are you kidding? You have the Nine of Pentacles, card of independence. She can do things on her own. Now, again, we are in a time of working together with other people, of co-creation. So it doesn't mean that you should be alone, but it does mean that you should make sure that the people you're working with support you and actually want to support the vision, right? But the Nine of Pentacles says you have all the skills you need. She has these grapes behind her. And the grapes in the tarot represent being able to grow something that is difficult to grow. And so it kind of says you have the skills, like I said, to make something very successful. She's also making sure that she's putting herself in a positive environment. The Nine of Pentacles is a card of the energy around you, everything. We have this little snail right here, and the snail wears its home on its back. And so it does, the snail is about putting yourself in the energy of what you want to be. And so it's about surrounding yourself with those things. And I feel it would be an amazing time for you to do that with the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is also your focus. We have Mercury going retrograde this month on the 9th. So, maintaining your focus and focusing on the big picture. Did you see my camera going in and out of focus like that? Again, I think your focus is important. With the Magician and the Eight of Cups, you have the King of Cups. King of Cups is about your emotional connection to things. He is sitting in the middle of the ocean, and he has very deep emotions. And I feel like maybe some of you have been in a situation due to like emotional things or emotional ties or support. The King of Cups is also about kind of traveling into the unknown. He has this boat behind him, and the boat behind him represents traveling into the unknown. Chariot, same thing. He is leaving what he has known forever, and he's going towards something that he doesn't know. All the Chariot knows is that he's in alignment. He is matching the energy perfectly of what he wants, and therefore he gets it. So, there is like a little bit of a transformation in the energy between these two things. With the Hermit, you have the Ace of Cups. Yeah, it's almost like saying you have to love yourself enough to put yourself in a good situation, right? The Ace of Cups is doing things that cause your emotions to overflow. And so the Ace of Cups, sure, it could be a love offer, but the cup can easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So the Ace of Cups is about doing the things that truly bring you fulfillment. And so if you're doing things that don't bring you fulfillment, then you're not fulfilling yourself. And, I feel like this card definitely wants you to do things, more things, that bring fulfillment, happiness, joy, peace into your life. I do also feel there definitely could be a love offer. This could be a person who's been in hermit mode that's kind of like coming out of hermit mode. I kind of have that question popping into my head, that important question, which is, how are you single, right? So, this might be a person where you meet them and you're like, how the hell is this person single? Sometimes I think that throws people off because you're like, there must be something wrong. But really, I don't think there is. I think this is just a person who's maybe, been going through healing or, has been going through a period of time where they're kind of behind the scenes, and that's perfectly fine. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the moon. You do know what to do here, Aquarius. The moon is tricky because sometimes I think the moon tricks us and makes us think like we don't know what to do. The moon is part of the Fool's journey. The Fool has to get from here to these mountains in the background. This lobster right here represents wearing your emotional armor, right? We talked about emotions with the King of Cups. Lobsters don't do very well on land. So the whole point of the lobster is that you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to kind of, step out into the wilds and not be protected. And, again, maybe that's why the reading is asking you to leave something like a thing behind, is because it would make you vulnerable to step into a new world or new opportunity or whatever, or it would make you vulnerable to do something on your own. But clearly you can't. The Fool, he knows he has to get to the top of these mountains. He also knows that, sure, the moon it's dark out when the moon is up, but eventually the sun will come up. So, everything about the moon just tells the Fool that he just has to keep moving forward towards those mountains. And eventually he'll get there, and eventually the sun will come up, and he will have answers. And, it's like maybe you're just in a period of a little bit of darkness. With the Eight of Swords and the Page of Wands, you have the Six of Wands, attention coming in for you. I do feel like something has been keeping you small-ish, maybe, here, Aquarius. It's like, it could be the shadow of another person, or it could be like your boss casting a shadow over you. But it's like, this is where you're meant to be. You're meant to be on your high horse, getting attention from all these other people, or getting the recognition and the rewards for the work that you've done. And I think it's really important that you kind of claim it. It's like time to claim this energy, or it's time to claim the attention or the status or whatever you want to call it. And it's time for you to be number one. With the Ace of Cups, you cannot make this up. You have the Hermit again. So, basically the universe saying I meant what I said right here. I do feel someone's coming out of hermit mode. It could be you as well here, Aquarius. You could be coming out of hermit mode. Maybe you've gone through some healing from a connection or a relationship, and you could be opening up to a new one or something. But, I think you're opening up here. With the Strength card, you have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, I actually really like this. Knight of Swords with the Wheel of Fortune is momentum. And, the Knight of Swords wants us to build momentum. It wants us to kind of like speed things up. And so a lot of you could be doing things to, speed things up in your life or make things faster, which is good. You cannot make this up. You have this August card. I literally think I said August in this reading. You have this archway. It says new opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. Yes. There's something about August. It popped into my head that, maybe since August or back in the month of August, you experience a little bit of a dip or something in your life. And, I think it made you a little bit kind of like question things about whatever it is that you're working on. But, clearly, now is the time where things are kind of like opening up, or a portal is opening up for you here, Aquarius. I think it's like a portal that's opening up for you to do things differently. It's like if something made you nervous in August, it's like maybe since then you've been learning how to, cross through a portal or something. You have this rooster. It says, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. Probably the person you're dealing with here for sure. It's like, I think you should just leave on good terms of a situation and, keep it peaceful and move on and move forward. You have this throne. It says position of authority. Cannot make that up. The whole entire reading wants you to take the lead and wants you to claim some sort of position of authority. Again, this makes sense with your astrology. Pluto in Aquarius is going to make you an authority. Pluto is your power. When it's in your own sign, it wants you to be powerful. And so I think it's time for you to claim your throne. It's like time. And like I'm wondering if it's like I'm wondering if working on your attitude would be very beneficial. It's like I don't really have a good example for you other than social media, because that's all I do. But it's like I notice this all the time, where it's like people who know nothing, and I'm not criticizing these people, but it's like there will be people who just like become popular out of nowhere, but there's something about them. It's almost like they claim the thing that they're talking about, and they have that like irrational self-confidence. And there's something to be said for that, Aquarius. It's like maybe that's what you should work on, is like being able to communicate with so much confidence that you are very believable, right? And maybe that's how you claim your authority. You have this wishbone. It says a wish granted. There you go. Yes. You have this firecracker. It says excitement. You should be excited. I think you need to get in that energy with the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups, we have to do things that make us overflow to be in that space. And that's what I would do here. So this looks pretty good, Aquarius. I like it. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.